Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me here on this lovely Monday afternoon or evening, wherever it might be in your part of the world. What's up, folks? I'm Sam. Thanks for joining me here on the Flipside. This is a fireside chat. Now, a fireside chat, you can see that there are no fires at my side. I tried doing little fake candles just to make sure that I covered the fireside part of it, but that's flown by the wayside because it was a gag to begin with. So I'm not going to continue going with it, but I mean, maybe we'll continue bringing the fake candles back here later on. But anyway, this is the first video of the week. Thank you for joining me here again. I always see three of you here. David Brownlee is here. Good to see you. Hello, hello. Matthew Vinson, hello. And Derek S. Hello, Derek. Good to see you guys and gals, if there are any out there. And the reason I say that is because my demographics are pretty clear. I do not appeal to the women in the audience, which is unfortunate because I think Jess is on here a lot, and she has a, you know, she's a pretty cool girl, but maybe not enough. But that's probably just, well, I don't know what it is, but according to YouTube, that's the demographic that I am like completely missing. What can I say? What can I say? Can't say much. Anyway, what we're going to be doing today is we already have some videos planned for later on this evening. So if you take a look at the channel, JT and I are going to be doing scenario 3 of Divinus later on this evening at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So you can come back for that. Now, of course, I put it on the thumbnail this time. Spoilers. Because we are well within the campaign at this point. So if you're planning on playing the campaign and you don't want to be spoiled about how things might go, then you might not want to watch. But if you don't care about that kind of thing, which I realize some of you might, we usually have a pretty good time playing games together. So it'll be fun just to watch. And it's a pretty cool game as well. It's a really neat game. I love the map construction part of it. You know, choosing a tile and laying it down and kind of being able to play with the position of your map as you're building it until you lock in that 4x4 grid. And then once that's done, it becomes a little bit more dicey on how you're going to actually fit new tiles that you need into that construct. But it's really neat because you're making those decisions along the way, and at the end of the scenario, basically, you are pretty much just stuck because of how you chose things. So it's an interesting dynamic of the game. You want to do something, but you can't because you made the decisions that got you where you are. So I kind of like that. So I'm enjoying it so far. We've played 2 scenarios. We played 2 scenarios on Monday. You can go back and check that video out. There are, again, significant spoilers in that. The first scenario, I think you're pretty much safe because the first scenario is just basically teaching you how to play the game. But then the second scenario actually goes into part of the storyline and that the campaign has. And so, you know, based on who wins and who loses, different things may happen. So you may want to be careful if you are wanting to protect your playthrough of the campaign. But other than that, it's a fun playthrough, and we're enjoying it so far. Lucky Duck did a great job designing the game, as far as and Philip Malinsky did a great job as well. So it's a definite plus. It's a beautiful game, first of all, and I really like the play between the Greek and Norse mythologies. Norse mythologies, rather. I said North. My apologies. But that's how it goes. Matthew Vincent says, that sounds too much like real life. Yeah, I guess you could say that. But I wasn't even thinking about that. It's Completely a correct statement, Matthew. Very good. Well done. Well done, sir. Well done. Um, yeah, I guess that wasn't as glowing of a review of statement as I thought it was, but you kind of get the idea, though, right? Um, in a game, it's a lot more. It's a lot less stressful. Let's put it that way. Lukewarm coffee. Yes. It's not actually. It is actually warm. It's just a little bit less warm than I was than I'm used to, because when I made it, then I came in here and started working on my list of games that I'm gonna pick my top 10 from 2016 with, and then I just forgot it was sitting there. So it kind of cooled down while I was working, but it is what it is. As far as Tuesday, tomorrow, we are going to. I'm going to continue with my It Belongs in a Museum series, episode 11. So we'll do that tomorrow morning, as per usual, and then I think Jessie is back at work today. She's taking it easy all day, and she is getting better. So we're going to, well, I haven't actually talked to her about this yet, but I think we're going to try to do our time-honored Tuesdays live stream tomorrow afternoon. I think we're going to try to do that. She does have, she actually told me what it was today, but one of my birthday presents was to have both of the cars detailed. And I totally thanked her for that. That was a great thing. It's a guy that comes by where she works, and the last couple of times he's come by to do some of the cars that are the ladies in the where she works. She, we haven't been able to have him do our cars, so she decided that was going to be one of my birthday presents, and so that's a cool thing. He's going to come by tomorrow afternoon, and I believe after we get him going, we're going to go ahead and try to do a live stream. So hopefully that will work out well, and I'm going to talk to her tonight after she gets home, and see what she thinks she wants to do. If she wants to do it, great. If not, I might just do a time-honored Tuesdays solo play. Solo mode from a time-honored Tuesdays, an older game, and that's what I'm thinking about doing. So either way, there will be a time-honored Tuesdays live stream tomorrow. Whether or not Jess takes part, that's completely up to her, but we'll let you know. I'll get it scheduled later on tonight, and by the time you check, or by the time YouTube lets you know, that should tell you what she said. But it's her decision. I'm not going to make her do something that she just doesn't feel up to, and I don't ever want to be put in that position anyway. So that's what's going on. Happy birthday! Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't make a huge deal out of birthdays, because it's just another day out of the week. I make a big deal out of people's birthdays if they want to make a big deal out of it. Just mine, I don't. It's just another day in the calendar. It's another year around this. It's another revolution around the sun. Whatever you want to. It's what I usually do. Jokingly, I'm the guy at the birthday party that after everybody's saying happy birthday, I say congratulations, you're a year closer to death. And that gets confused and looks from everybody at the party, or sitting around the table about to eat cake. And that's kind of where my humor goes sometimes. Maybe it's not the best thing, but I mean, literally, my dad, I'll even read it here. My dad texted me yesterday. He says, it's almost birthday, bud. Big shindig for 5-0. And I said, nope. I'm like you in that way. No need to celebrate being a year closer to death. And my dad responds with, I always thought I was another year closer to prime time. And that's my dad. So, it is what it is. It's a milestone, I guess. I bought you a new walker. I don't have one. I don't have an old walker. So thank you for the new walker. So you're able to apply for Social Security now, Sam? No, not quite. Not quite. I don't think I would have that much in the coffers. Anyway, Les. So Les Chung, he just texted me, "Happy birthday! You're a year closer to death. Huzzah!" You know, that kind of thing. That's great. That's funny. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so that's going to happen tomorrow. So we're definitely going to do the It Belongs to the Museum, episode 11, tomorrow morning. And then there will be a Time Honored Tuesday stream tomorrow afternoon. Either I will be it'll be just me doing a solo play of an older game, or it will be me and Jess playing something 2-player. All right. So, but again, that's going to be left up to her and what she decides. So, on her own. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday, there will be a video review up on the Dice Tower from me. And then there will be a live review here on the channel, here on the Flipside, of Dutch Resistance, Orange Shall Overcome. They do have a Kickstarter for a reprint. I believe that's what it is. Going on right now. And so they sent me a review so that I could do a review for the Kickstarter campaign. And so I've let Liberation Game Design know, Marcel, I've let him know that I'm doing that on Wednesday. And he's going to try to stop by and answer questions and so forth and so on, which will be a cool thing. So I appreciate him being willing to do that. But that's going to be coming up on Wednesday. That's going to be my live review this week. Thursday will be another solo game, and then Friday I think we're going to try to play Castles of Mad King Ludwig, the new kind of reprint that is coming from Bezier Games. So I think we're going to do that on Friday, because that is something that I believe I said that I would do either in April or in May. Now, we've already done one of the games that they asked me to do for them, and that was Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig. Jess and I did that together, and so that was a fun one that we both enjoyed. And then we're going to do Castles of Mad King Ludwig, the reprint, I believe this Friday, and then Saturday we should be good to go with another live Q&A with Jess, and hopefully by then I think I really feel like she's rounding a corner. Yesterday and today. Yesterday she again rested most of the day, and I made sure that she was able to do that. That was kind of my final Mother's Day gift to her yesterday. So we did that, and so she went back to work today, and I think she might be rounding a corner. We'll hope, but we'll see. All right, Sam, I imagine you play a lot of new board games with friends. Do you have any that prefer replaying the same game over and over versus playing a new one? My friends prefer replaying games where I like. I don't. Oh, to try new mechanisms in new games. Where I like to try new mechanisms in new games. I am actually, when I find games that, when I find mechanisms rather that I enjoy, I like trying those mechanisms in a lot of different games and seeing how each different game implements that game mechanism. That's what I like to do. So I'm generally speaking, because I am a big, huge fan of theme as well. So theme is something that I really kind of latch onto. If I like the theme, sometimes the mechanisms take a backseat to that, because I will just enjoy the theme irrespective of what mechanisms were employed. But a mechanism that I enjoy will greatly enhance that. Because if I'm enjoying both the mechanisms and the theme, that's big. If I'm just enjoying the theme, that's enough that I have enjoyed the game. But if I can enjoy the mechanisms along with the theme at the same time, that's the sweet sauce. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the main person that I probably play most of my games with is Jess, and then secondarily JT. So with Jessie, there is a lot of me just teaching the game to her, and a lot of the games that I teach to her are, well, if I'm teaching them to her, they're new to her, but then the ones that she enjoys will come back and play more often because she enjoys them. So I don't have a whole lot of friends that are also board gamers, to the extent that I can have people over at my house whenever I or they want. Because I mean, JT is probably my best board gaming friend. In other words, you know, if he comes over, there have been times that he and Mel and Hawk can come over and we just, you know, kind of shoot the breeze and break bread and that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, if JT comes over, we're playing a game of some kind. But with JT, I would say more often than not, we're playing new games. Because, you know, he's always got his new Kickstarter that has come in, or group of Kickstarters that comes in, depending on the week. So we're wanting to get those to the table. But there have been times where, you know, he brings over something that's tried and true, and he just wanted to show it to us. We haven't played it yet. That's how we learned how to play Sweet Mess. That's how we learned how to play a lot of games that he's taught us. But generally speaking, Jess is the one that I probably play games with the most, and JT is close to that, and then it greatly drops off to our monthly meetups. I would say Doug and Emily, Ragged Edge. He's on here every once in a while. Is he here today? Doesn't look like it. He must be busy. But Doug and Emily, we played a lot of games with them as well. And then, you know, kind of beyond that, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss because people are busy, you know, and we share things in common with people, but by and large, people are busy. It's hard. It really is. It really is hard to put a group of gamers together because we usually, generally speaking, families are involved. And when you put not just the adult schedule, but then you put the kid schedule on top of the adult schedule, you're full at that point. There's very little time that can coincide with somebody else's very little time throughout the course of the week where you can get together and play games. So that's just kind of how our life is right now. So I don't have a lot of friends that I play a whole lot of games with on a regular daily or weekly basis. It really boils down to game nights, which is once a month. which is all we can really afford until maybe in the summer, where we can maybe get a couple other nights in there when, you know, extracurricular activities aren't jamming, you know. But generally speaking, to answer your question, sometimes, yes, we do prefer, like Jess prefers to play the same game over and over and over again because she knows she enjoys it and she doesn't have to relearn it. Learning a game for her can be a stressful experience. Often, what we've done in the past is we have spent time before we actually go live to where I can kind of teach her how the game goes. And then I also do another teach on top of that as the stream starts. And that helps her be less stressed during the streams because she doesn't feel like she has to perform, I guess would be a way to say it. She doesn't have to, you know, there's a little bit more mental reinforcement there than just being taught once about something. So that's it. Perhaps you could do a video detailing card shuffling techniques for the elderly. Well, I don't know about that, but I don't know that that would be a video. I mean, yeah, there are card shufflers that you can buy for cheap on Amazon, I think, and they work pretty good. I've used them before. Tom's bought a few of them back when I was with the Dice Tower, and you know, I don't think that would work for like a deck builder where you're shuffling a lot. But if you're just talking about shuffling decks of cards before, you know, while you're setting up a game or something like that, I think they would work well. You can check those out. You know, up there where you slide them in both sides and you push a button, it's just and it puts it all together and spits it out. It works well. Looking forward to the review of my game this Wednesday. I will be there. Very good. Thank you, Marcel. I appreciate you. And we'll share it on the next update, so hopefully some backers will join in for the review. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Marcel. Vanessa is here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Vanessa. Good to see you. Some people just don't enjoy learning new games all the time. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. They want to stick with the familiar or want to delve deeper into the strategy of a game. Yeah, and that is absolutely viable. Being a content creator, it's harder to do that because you feel the urge to continuously kind of keep your finger on the pulse of those things that are coming out, the new things that people are playing, the new things that people are being drawn to. And of course, then there's the other side of it where you might be doing a preview for a Kickstarter, or you might be doing a review of a Kickstarter game, or you might be doing a playthrough of a game that is on some kind of crowdfunding platform, or you're just trying to drum up, you know, you've been contracted to try to drum up some activity on a game that might be already available. There's any number of reasons why a content creator is not able to kind of shift into that mode of really delving into the strategy of a game. And that's kind of why we've kind of relegated Tuesdays to being for older games, and that we won't do new games on Tuesdays. Because, you know, I think that's something that is largely overlooked. You know, there are not a whole lot of people out there that will make videos of older games. I mean, and to their defense, it's because the vast majority of the people out there don't want to watch a video about an older game. They're looking at these newer games. They're looking for videos of these newer games because they want to see if they're going to purchase said new game. And I know the same thing could be true of the older game, but Cult of the New is real, right? And it's larger than Cult of the Old or Cult of the I want to dig deeper into these strategies. So, you know, and I think that's the trap that people fall into with always playing these older games, is that there's a lot of, I mean, those newer games, because there's a lot of older games out there that are, man, just as good, if not better, than some of the new stuff that's coming out. And that's not like an indictment on new stuff that's coming out. I think there's a lot of great new games that are out there. I mean, good night. The games that JT is getting in from his Kickstarter purchases are just, most of them are really good. They're really fun. You know, there's only a few that are like duds, and that's really cool. I like that. But it is a trap that a content creator can fall into, is just always playing the new stuff and never getting back to the stuff that you really enjoy. You know, the stuff that's behind me, I enjoy. I'm going to go on a limb and just throw out an arbitrary percentage, but I'm going to say 90% of the games that are behind me, they're there because I really enjoyed the game. But how many times do I pull those games back down off the shelf and play them again? It's not because I don't like them. It's because there's so much else that I have to get through. You know what I mean? So that's the trap. But I definitely get what you say. Some people just don't enjoy learning new games all the time. I think that's part of where Jess is, which is why I was super surprised that she played like 30 new games in the month of April. Now, I would imagine, now we've been, you know, trying to be a little bit better about making sure that we're playing games, new and old, that we think she'll enjoy, whether that be based on a mechanism or the complexity rating or whatever it might be. We've been trying to, you know, kind of curate what games we play together based on some of those different aspects of the games. And I think that's one of the reasons why she played so many games. Another reason why is that we did have a game night and a game weekend, kind of a gaming retreat at Comic-Con, both in April. And so those were kind of two really focused times where she was able to get a lot of games played. But still, 30 games in 1 month, 30 new games in 1 month, that's one a day. Now, of course, we didn't play one a day, so a lot of those got doubled up on you know, or tripled or quadrupled up on different days. But that's something interesting. You know, that's something interesting. I was really surprised that happened. She kept track of it. I didn't. Derek says he enjoys trying new games out. I guess it comes from having a larger game collection. Yeah, that's probably true. Vanessa says, your gaming life sounds like my two friends that live in a small town. They typically just play games with each other. Yep, there is another couple they play with occasionally, but schedules get in the way. That's exactly what it is. That's got to be the longest answer to the simplest question I've ever heard. You're welcome, Eric. Getting long-winded in your old age. I know. Takes one to know one, pal. I enjoy learning new games, Vanessa says, but I need a break every now and then, and it's nice feeling to play something familiar. It absolutely is. Very good. I wonder if the board game audience of reviewers are generally in the camp of wanting to try Cult of New versus otherwise. Why else would they be interested in learning about all the new stuff? Well, that's a good wonder. That's a good ponderance. I think it's just, with me, personally, because really that's all I can talk about, because I don't know why other people are doing it. With me, I do enjoy learning new stuff. But I don't always like being the one that's teaching the new stuff. I like for example, if it's a heavier game, I'll ask JT if he'll read the rule book, because I'm horrible at reading rule books. I am a much more efficient learner if I learn by doing what it is. So I'll ask JT, will you learn this and then teach it to me? And then I will do my due diligence and read through the rule book and do all of that kind of stuff after the fact. But can you get me jump started on it? Because he can devour a rule book, and he does so with clarity in his mind. I can't do that. So that's been a big help with me with JT. It's not that I don't like learning new things. It's just that I'm not the kind of person that can read a rule book and know how to play a game. I have to do it. I have to play it. And then my brain has something to latch onto. And I can remember how to play the game after that play. And then if I read through the rule book, everything else makes a lot more sense on that read through the rule book. So, I read rule books because I have to, but often that is not the only thing that I do when I learn. I also watch videos. I watch run through, play through videos, reviews, how to plays, all of that kind of stuff. I try to do that, and it helps. I do like learning new games, but I think I probably enjoy more playing games that I know and continuing to enjoy them. Vanessa says, I enjoy learning new games, but I need a break. Something familiar? Yes. Oh yes, back to the thing. So are the board game audience of reviewers generally in the camp of wanting to try Cult of the New versus otherwise? I would say yes, probably. The audience, I definitely believe it is, because they're always looking for the new stuff. They're not necessarily there for the older stuff. They're there for the new stuff, and they'll watch the older stuff because they're already there for the new stuff. I like replaying games, but I have so many new ones that I am constantly looking for someone to try them with me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mr. Cola, what do you feel about games where people say they get better once you play them more? I think many games are like that, Marcel. I think once you've played them a couple of times, you're going to be better at the game than somebody that comes to it new, unless that person that's coming to it new is just able to grok all of that new information a lot faster. For example, Jason Levine is just one of those people that can see all the connections and can see what they need to do to start making those connections a lot faster than I would say your normal average person. His brain just is on another level. So if he's playing a game with somebody that has played the game before, then you might have a more level playing field. But I think most of the time, people, you do get better at playing a game the more you play it. And now that doesn't necessarily mean that you will get higher scores if it's a victory point based game. Because, like, for example, there have been many times where I have played a game for the first time and beat everybody that first play because I was just trying to figure out how to score points through the game. The other people were trying different strategies and they were trying different things within the games. So they were more like testing the water while I was just trying to swim. You know what I'm saying? And I swam better that first time because I just applied the things that were taught to me while everybody else was just trying something that, let's see how this works, that kind of thing. But then later on, if that same group of people played the same game again, I probably wouldn't win because they would take things that they learned from that first game and apply it to this new thing that they want to try and this new thing over here that they want to try. And they're truly like testing the boundaries of the strategies in the game rather than just playing the game. Does that make sense? And often I probably won't win much after the fact. My favorite game as case in point, Blood Rage, I've taught the game a lot, and while I'm teaching the game, I'm very conscious about making sure that people understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And part of that helps people do better in that game. Now, with that having been said, I think that's probably the best way to teach somebody how to play a game, especially if it's one that you've played a lot. I'm not so much worried about winning that game that I'm teaching people. I'm just wanting them to understand how the game works, especially if there's a lot of nuances in the game like Blood Rage has. You know, like you get points for losing and you get points for having your dudes get killed off. And that's kind of counterintuitive. Usually most games you get more points if you have more dudes, or you get more points for winning and all of this kind of stuff. And I've taught people and they didn't get past 25 points. And then I've taught other people and they've whooped me because they caught on early on. So I don't think going back to your question, Marcel, I think most games, except for ones that are heavily reliant upon luck, random chance, rolling dice and that kind of stuff, I don't think that you can not get better the more you play the game. And you might not notice it, but then once you teach somebody the game, and it's brand new for them and you've played it a few times, then you'll see it. You'll see how, oh, well, they're not making very good decisions because they didn't understand that this card was going to come up 2 turns from now, or what have you. I look forward to older game reviews, Eric says, because they're cheaper to buy usually. That is true. You can usually find much better deals on games with older titles than with newer ones. Yeah, absolutely correct. And don't have to wait for them to be fulfilled. Also correct. David Brownlee says, I like games that get me to think how I can do better next time. Absolutely. Yep, that makes sense, David. That is an interesting approach. I always have to teach, Matthew says. I'm sorry. I'm always nervous teaching a new game. People have told me that I'm a good rules teacher, but it still worries me that I screw it up somehow. There are many times situations within teaching games where I try to teach the basic foundational rules and get people going as fast as possible. And then about, 2, sometimes 3 turns into the game, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to say that. I forgot to say that this is something they could do because I'm about to do it and it's about to really benefit me. And I'm like, oh crap, it's going to look like I held this back. Those are kinds of situations where I've really kind of struggled with. But as long as you're honest, and I try to be very procedural, well, as procedural as I can be when I'm teaching a game, so that I can try to force myself to remember everything before we actually start the game. And there have been a couple times, and these are probably less of a bother for me. In the first round of the game, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot this, and this. And usually when it's something like that, when it's earlier on in the game, it carries with it less of that, wait a minute, or did you hold that back kind of feeling. But generally speaking, Jess said that she she prefers my way of teaching. She and I communicate very well together, and so she likes it when I teach a game to her. After me, JT is a very good teacher as well, and she can learn games well with JT. Beyond that, it's hit or miss. Because she is also a very much a experience-based person, and she learns a lot better by doing rather than just being told. And like we've sat at games together where the person teaching the game basically just read the rule book, and that was one of the hardest ways for her to learn, is to just listen to somebody read the rule book. So that's really hard for her. Let's see here. Marcel says, I know a few games I am interested in trying, but there are people who have played the game so often and know it so well, I don't like to learn it with them. I understand that, and I think that is not your problem, Marcel. That is a problem with the person teaching the game. When you're teaching a game, this is my philosophy at least. You need to do one of two different things, and sometimes both. First of all, you need to let off the gas. And you're not trying to win this game. You are teaching the game, not trying to win. You are not a player, you are a teacher. First and foremost, you may be playing the game, but your primary goal is to teach people how to play, not to be a player trying to win. That's the first thing that you need to do. The second avenue is teach people how the game is played, not necessarily teach them the rules of the game. Because teaching people the rules of the game might give them enough academic knowledge to go through the motions, but how the game is supposed to be played is also something that I think is inherent in the rules, and it's kind of the small print that you can't really see in the rules. There's usually a spirit of the rules. I've referred to it that way, and not necessarily the rule of law, but the spirit. And I'm also the kind of person that I'm going to do this because it's cool. It's probably not going to let me win. It's probably not going to get me a lot of points, but I'm going to be able to remember it and say, hey, remember that time when I did this? Or remember that time when you did this and this happened and then this happened and it was so cool? I'm much more about those kinds of situations than, oh yeah, remember when I buried you by 120 points in Blood Rage? Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? And you're going, and the person's like, no, it really wasn't kind of fun. It was kind of degrading. So I think those are two things that you have to do. I think as a teacher, you have to let off the gas and try not to win in the games. And then there's other times where you need to teach people how the game should be played. And that's not to say that you have the monopoly on how the game is supposed to be played, but you do have the most experience with the game, and you've seen maybe how other people have played and how you play and all this kind of stuff. So you know the dynamics of the game better than everybody else probably too, unless you've never played the game either. So those are a couple of different aspects that I usually try to take into account when I'm teaching a game. Now, in a game like Blood Rage, for example, it's just the one that I'm usually teaching the most, the singular one that I'm usually teaching most. Teaching them how to play the game is part of that I mentioned earlier, telling them what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, so that they can make those connections. They can start making those connections on their own with the cards that they have in their hands and the situations that are on the board. And then I'll even explain, look, what I'm doing here, over here, I could also do over here, but it's better for me to do it over here because of this, this, and that, and that. I could do it over here and it might really hurt them, but it wouldn't be better for me to do it that way. It's better for me to do it over here. Those kinds of situations. And it does take the first experience of the game. It usually does mean that that game's going to go longer. But I think people will have a better understanding of the game at that point, and they'll come away with a better idea of whether or not they're going to, or whether or not they liked it or not. So, I don't know. That might have been a lot of another long-winded story, right, Eric? I know a few games I'm interested in. Okay, I already read that one. I have to teach most of the game time as well, David says, but I prefer that since I learn best from reading the rules. Well, there you go. Academic learner instead of a experiential learner. Matthew Vincent, that's why I like solo modes. They are just the like multiplayer that are just like the multiplayer. It makes a lot easier to teach and learn yourself. Absolutely. Totally agree with that, Matthew. Derek says, I enjoy learning new games, and I especially enjoy discovering new mechanisms in games, which is what got me excited about this hobby. That's very cool, Derek. Exactly. Setting up Invention's evolution of ideas for solo play right now. Well, there you have it. Invention's evolution of ideas. Oh, I think I saw something about that. That sounds interesting. Vanessa says, I have a friend that is very similar to Jason when it comes to game strategies. Yeah, there are a lot of them out there, and you know, some of them I've found they're very good at it, but they don't necessarily get very excited about it. That's not to say that they aren't enjoying themselves. They just aren't very excitable. Jason is excitable, and he's very good at it. But if he doesn't like the game, that's also very clear. It doesn't mean that he doesn't understand how the game is played. Tom will often play games with Jason so that he can see if Jason will be able to break the game. That's how deep and how quick Jason's mind works. He will use these different connections and mechanisms and point scoring methods and all this other kind of stuff. And if a game can be broken, Jason will usually be able to find a way to do it. Liberation Game Denies. Thanks. It's very interesting because of this cult of the new that is happening at the same time. While most games get more interesting once you played them more, I often play a game for the first. Yep. Not to win, but just to learn the game. Correct. And that's how most of the time, that's how learning games should be. We're just learning how to play the game. Or if you're the teacher and you have more experience with the game, I'm just teaching you how to play the game. I'm along for the ride. I'm also going to play. I'm also going to be able to answer questions. I'm going to be able to give you tips and strategies and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not in it to win it. I'm in it to teach it. And often people who are teaching a game lose sight of that, which is unfortunate because it kind of throws that idea of community out the window. And for example, there's a guy that I knew in Florida, great guy, would give you the shirt off his back, would do almost anything for you, hard worker, super hard worker, knew what he was doing, knew his stuff. And I remember I was trying to put together a softball team. I was kind of in preliminary stages of trying to put together a church softball team to take part in a league in town. And he was our baseball coach. And his first question was, "Are we going to win?" I said, I don't know. I just want to get a team together and I want to play. Yeah, but are we going to win? I don't know. Are we going to do it? Are we doing this for fun or are we doing this to win? I'm like, probably for fun. Because, you know, relationships, community, blah, blah, blah. I'm out then. I don't want to play. I don't want to do it. And I was like, well, okay. All right, thank you. But there are people out there that are like that. To them, winning is the way to have fun. If you're not winning, you're not having fun. And I kind of get that to an extent. It is more fun to win. I get that. But at the same time, it's also fun to have community. And it's also fun to have people that you can come together around a game and be competitive with them, and they're not overbearing, and they're not rubbing it in your face and all of that kind of stuff. Now, I have friends that we will absolutely talk trash the entire time about whatever game we're playing, and that is fun too. But at the end of the day, we don't lord it over them. You know what I'm saying? We don't lord it over each other. But I also like to play games not necessarily to win. Frankly, I don't win that much. So if that's why I'm playing board games, I don't really have a very good reason to play board games because I don't win that often. So there's that. Excuse me. There are definitely games, Vanessa says, I've played multiple times and have yet to get better at. Well, that's fine. My friend who is similar to Jason is sometimes tough to learn a game from. He goes so quickly through the rules that things get missed. Yes, that is very true because his brain or her brain, whoever it might be, you said he, so his brain is working at a different speed than ours are. And that's how Jason's mind is working as well. His mind is working way up here, and I'm working down here. And sometimes I have to go like, stop, say that again, but like half Jason speed, you know? So yeah, I get that. Including helpful strategy tips can be helpful. Getting folks up to speed, knowing how the chess pieces move isn't enough to be a good chess player. That's correct. But I just wanted to make the clarification of I'm not doing that because I think that I am, you know, in an ivory tower and I'm so much better than they are. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm thinking about at all. Also, I also didn't mean to say it as I know how to play this game, and the way I know how to play this game is the only way that you should play it. Hence, I'm going to teach you how to play this game my way. And that's not what I meant either. But giving helpful strategy tips and helpful rules, clarifications, and so forth from time to time. And explaining the why and not just the how, that sometimes does make learning an experience a little bit more enriching. I always tell people, look, if you're not understanding something during this entire play, stop me and ask questions, because that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this, yes, because I'm enjoying it. I'm doing this, yes, because I'm having fun, but I'm teaching you how to play this game. And if I teach you this game and you walk away not knowing how to play the game, then I have failed. So help me help you and ask questions. That's what I usually, that's what I try to employ from people that I'm teaching a game to, because I can talk until I'm blue in the face, and I can teach rules until the cows come home, but if you haven't understood it, it doesn't matter. I also have another friend who likes to try out all sorts of crazy strategies just for the heck of it. That's me. I'm not the friend she's talking about, but that's me. That's what I like to do. Every once in a while, I will get into a position where sometimes I have to try something new, and I'm always very uncertain. I'm like, well, here we go. Here we go again. And that's pretty fun. Sam's giving out participation trophies. No, I'm not, Eric. You shush. We should change Jason's name to the Game Breaking Machine. Timon6219 is here. Hello, Timon. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Coming together, sharing a game, socializing around a game is what makes this a hobby I enjoy. Winning is gravy. That is absolutely true. It's like the icing on the cake, right? All of those other things that you mentioned are the purposeful things. Winning is just the icing on the cake. If you get to win, great. If I didn't win, I still have that time spent together, that time of camaraderie around the game, even if I didn't win. And often, I've found at least, I remember games because of situations, not because of the final score. Now, in cooperative games, which I really enjoy for this reason, often you remember the game because you all won together and you all had a part in it, and it was very cool that way. So, absolutely. I also have an extremely competitive friend that I will not play games with. She's really cutthroat and takes all the fun out of the game. I think we all have those friends, and I think I definitely want to make sure that that's clear. They are still my friends, even if I don't necessarily want to play some games with them. Because it's not, whether or not you're my friend is not based on whether or not I enjoy playing games with you. And I don't think that Vanessa's saying that, because she still called this person her friend. But knows that she will not enjoy playing a game with that friend because of that friend's competitive nature. And that's an important delineation to make, I think, because often we might catch ourselves falling into that, well, I can't be friends with you because I don't enjoy playing games with you. And that might not even be true. It might even be more to the fact I don't like playing certain games with you. And that's a hard thing to get by, but you can. But that's an interesting thing. I think we all have friends that are highly competitive because they're out there, right? There are people that are out there, and yeah, we had a good friend of mine, Brian. He's the guy that helps Jess and I run the game nights at Steamers. And I was talking to him. Need to try to find a way around. I need to talk to him again. But anyway, I said, hey, you going to bring your games in? He goes, well, they never get played. So I'm not going to bring them in. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, they're 3-hour games, and nobody ever wants to sit down for a 3-hour game. I was like, oh yeah, that's probably true. But he is a very competitive person, and in games, he's like super nice, super servant-minded, super everything. But with games, he's super competitive because that's how he played games growing up. Him and his brothers and his dad and his friend's dad and friends, they all played games, and they all played those like Avalon Hill super competitive games growing up, and that's his jam. He loves doing that kind of stuff. And we were playing Donut Shop, and I messed up. I set the game up wrong, where there were 2 more cards in the deck than there should have been, and so the last round of the game, I got to pick a card, and then Dante got to pick a card, but then the other 2 guys playing didn't get it, and that did not sit well with Brian. And it was my fault because I messed up the setup, but he caught on to that. And the reason the setup rules were there is because of exactly what he was saying. But he was like, well, I'm just going to get stuck with a card that I might not be able to use. I don't have a choice in the matter. I was like, well, I don't think it's going to matter that much, dude. And that's just kind of how I was, because it was Donut Shop. It was like this super light, super, just kind of a fun, family game. It was not one of those super strategic kind of games. And we had a conversation that I hope wasn't like, you know, I hope, you know, I don't think we did. I think we, I don't think it made anything too awkward, but we just had a conversation around the table, and I was trying to be, I don't think that's big of a deal, but he was, you know, I don't know, but competitive players are out there. Brian is not my friend because I like to play games with him. I do, but that's not why he's my friend. He's my friend because he's my friend. He's my brother in Christ. He's my friend, and we do a lot of it. We serve on the tech crew together, and there's a lot of other things that we do. It's not just gaming that makes us friends, and so. But I think that's a cool thing. That dynamic that's there, you know, we can still be friends, and even though we might not like playing games together. So I know that's probably not where Vanessa was going with that, but that's where my mind went. Does Jason do well at Cosmic Encounter? Is there a game he isn't good at that you know of? Well, Cosmic Encounter is a game that's based more off of, well, let's just say it, how well you can lie sometimes, or how well you can pull the wool over somebody's eyes and then stab them in the back. And Jason isn't very good at that. Because he's very excitable, he doesn't have a very good poker face. And so I don't know that he's very good at those kinds of games, not trying to say very good at Cosmic Encounter as well. He loves playing the game, don't get me wrong, but I don't know that he usually does very well at it. It's been an hour. It must be almost over. Well, it's going to be over here in a little bit. I do have to go pick up some kids. I also enjoy cooperative games, but mostly everyone I game with do not. Well, that's unfortunate. I have the best camaraderie playing solo. That's good. That's good for your mental well-being, Eric. Well done. Until I piss myself off. Happens frequently. My favorite thing about playing games is the camaraderie. Joking around, smack talking each other is so much fun. That is exactly correct, Vanessa. All right, here's what we're going to do, and this will close out the thing. I did do an unboxing. Of some games that came in while we were doing our live Q&A on Saturday. This one came in Saturday afternoon, and we are pretty stinking excited about it as well. And that is Heat, Heavy Rain. So we will get down to the table here and go ahead and open this up so that you guys can see all the goodies that come in this little box right here. All right, so this is the expansion for Heat, called Heavy Rain. And as you can see, it looks like it's going to come with a couple more. It looks like Japan, and I don't know what this one is, but it's Vincent Detroit's artwork. Love it. So it looks like we're going to get another player color as well. Not a standalone game. Requires an original copy of Heat, Pedal to the Metal to play. So there you have it. Let's go ahead and get this open. Boom. And the rule book. I love that. Looks like orange. Orangey is the color. Did you break the internet again? Nope, I didn't break the internet this time. All right, so we've got Japan on this side. So that's pretty cool. Man, I'm sorry, dudes. If you don't like Vincent Detroit's artwork, there's something wrong with your eyeballs. You need to go get those checked out. Because this is just like, I don't know what it is, but every time I see a game with his artwork on it, is just amazing. So I guess that's supposed to be kind of like Mount Fuji in the middle of it. That's pretty funny. That's pretty cool. Anyway, you have Japan on one side and Mexico on the other. that's pretty cool. Japan on one side and Mexico on another. That's cool. I like it. I love this. I love the luchador mask here and over here, I guess. No, that looks like more, maybe it's some kind of a traditional type mask, like Day of the Dead or something like that. And then you got a luchador mask over here. Man, I just love the looks of these boards. So awesome. But that's the board. Then you have 2 sets. Why are there 2? I guess when you play teams. So you got that in here, and then you also have some cards. And the cool thing about this is that I'm pretty sure it's going to all fit into the base box. You don't have to worry about that. There was plenty of room in there for that, but you have a bunch of different cards here, and you have all of Orange's cards for their base set. And then you have more of these guys. And then you have more Heat cards, looks like. And then you have Mercury Air System. A bunch of those. I don't know what the purple one is. What does the purple one do? I don't know what that does. Super Cool. Oh, Super Cool. What does Super Cool do? Super Cool says this symbol is an optional symbol to be used in step 5. You may look through your discard pile and remove up to that many Heat cards from it. Ooh. Return these cards to your engine spot. Wow. Okay. So that's what the Super Cool thing means. That's pretty cool. See what I did there? Air intakes. All right. Cool beans. I'm liking it. Then you have some other ones here. Going global. Turbulent winds. Sudden heavy rain delays race. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to putting these all back together. That's going to be awesome. And let's see, what else do we have in here? We also have a scores pad. A score pad. So that is what comes in a box of Heavy Rain double-sided mat with Japan and Mexico for Orange player rule book. Bam! Looking forward to getting this back to the table. Love this artwork. And with that, I need to get on out of here because I got to go pick up some kids from school. Live play of this, Sam? Yes, that's probably coming. I like this expansion already. I tried making it, making my own weather token so you can play Heavy Rain on any track. As there is now an orange option. Yes, there is. David, what I like best about Heat is it's quick to play and quick to reset and play again. That is correct. Sadly, only one side of the map has the flooded sections. Not sure why they didn't have both sides that way. I don't know. Yep, 2 cars. Bonus, there should be only 1 car and a shifter. Okay, should be only 1. Well, I have 2, so there you have it. If anybody's missing 1, let me know. Kimono Panchos. All right, got to get out of here. Thank you guys for joining me. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side later on this evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. 7 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be hitting back into Scenario 3 of Divinus. JT and I will be that. So come back later on this evening, or we'll see you tomorrow morning for It Belongs in a Museum. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.